Hello and welcome to another guide. And this time, as you can see on the screen, is the time for Lakyus guide, also known as, you know, uh, Lakyus, the wielder of the corset sword. And I'm gonna be showing you the character in just a second. Is this one right here? And well, as you can see, it's only level 26 with 16k combat power on my account, of course. But I know the character, I have seen it, I have even used it, and I know to upgrade it, what is good and what is the most optimal or recommendable things for this character, or at least I think so. And I have a lot of time in this game, so I'm probably right, I think. And during this character that is fairly simple, it looks like it's a complex character, but it's a simple one. I'm gonna try to do this guide very quickly and very shortly, because I usually do guides of like 40 minutes or more. I'm gonna try to keep this under half an hour. I'm gonna try, no guarantees. So, going at it, we can see that it's an SSR character warrior class. That means that's usually pretty balanced around most of the stats. It's based on area of effect damage, shields, and buffs. In the basic attributes, we can see triple A, one on attack, one on physical defense, and one on HP. Pretty usual and average for the warrior class characters. And then we see a C on speed, a B, and a B on magical defense. C on speed is horrible in most of the characters, and considering the actual meta with things like Tank Shizu, Tank Hamusuke, or Seshi, having C on speed guarantees that this character is gonna get killed, at least against the meta team. And B on magical defense is not bad, but it's not good at all. So, starting off for an SSR character is pretty lacking on the basic attributes. But if someone likes the character and wants to upgrade it, that is why this is, that's the reason why I'm doing this guide, and to preserve the information of the game. Now, on the accessories, going quickly here, you can see that at tier level 3, this character gains 20% counter rate, tier level 6 gains 10% more HP, and tier level 9 gains 5% damage boost. A boost on all kinds of damage, which is kind of nice, especially this one and the counter rate one. HP not as much on this particular character. Now, the skill set. Looks pretty complicated, especially because of the passive and the ultimate, but believe me, it is really, really simple. I'm gonna start with the basic attack. The basic attack can be, or can perform in two different ways: after using the ultimate and before using the ultimate for the first time. If you throw the basic attack before throwing the ultimate, this is just gonna be a single target attack. It's just gonna be 100% of 105% of Lakyus attack as physical damage, and that's it. But if the ultimate is activated, this is gonna be an area of effect damage that is, instead of physical, is gonna be magical damage, and it's gonna deal less damage than the single target one, but it's gonna do damage to all enemies on screen. It doesn't matter if there is 1, 2, 3, 4, or even 5 enemies on the screen. It does damage to everyone. And you can see that the damage can scale up to 120% attack on a single target, or 70% attack, 72% attack to all targets. And before I go with the other skills in the order that I usually do, I'm gonna go with the ultimate, or explain what's the gimmick with the ultimate and the passive. Basically, when you throw the ultimate of Lakyus for the first time, it's gonna do an area of effect. So basically, the Dark Blade Mega Impact is an area of effect damage that deals physical damage. And once you throw that, Lakyus enters what is called the Magic Bloom state, that is this thing right here. And it's a buff that increases the attack of Lakyus by 10%, but reduces her physical defense by 10%, and cannot be dispelled by the enemies. And when the Magic Bloom effect is active, all of Lakyus' basic skills change. And the only way to revert the effect back to what the original skill set did is throwing the ultimate a second time. So if you throw the ultimate for the first time, Lakyus is gonna do an area of effect physical damage, and it's gonna enter the Magic Bloom state. And if she already was in the Magic Bloom state and you throw the ultimate for the second time, she is gonna basically ignore, or well, not ignore, but is gonna get the spell from the Magic Bloom state on her own. And as you can see here is exactly these 2 points. And if you throw the ultimate when she's on the Magic Bloom state, you do the same amount of damage, but instead of physical, it's gonna be magical damage, and it's gonna deactivate the effect just like I told you. And if this character is 4 stars, when she hits an enemy, she's gonna have a 100% basic chance to dispel 1 buff. And every time Lakyus throws the ultimate, she's gonna have another turn instantly. Pretty similar to what the SR Entoma does, that she buffs herself, and after that she gets another turn. And you as you progress and level up the skill, you're gonna have less cooldown and more damage. But the important thing is, you throw the ultimate and you get the Magic Bloom effect. There is more damage but less defense. You throw the ultimate while being on the Magic Bloom state, you deactivate that, so you lose that extra attack, but you gain the little bit of defense that you got nerfed with. And basic attack is gonna be a single target if you're not on the Magic Bloom effect. If the Magic Bloom effect is on, it's gonna be an area of effect attack, but with less damage. Now the passive, the Corset Sword Killing Aram, basically explains a little bit of the Magic Bloom effect. It says, when not in the state of Magic Bloom, after launching a direct attack, Lakyus is gonna gain a shield equal to 45% of her current attack for 2 rounds, and can be stacked up to a maximum of 160% of her base attack. And that percentage can increase with the levels of the skill and the 6-star upgrade of the character. Also, when Magic Bloom gets activated, it's gonna remove the shield and channel 20% of the remaining shield value into this special buff that is the Corset Sword Killing Aram, that is called exactly as the passive, and it's gonna last for 2 rounds. That basically inflicts magical damage equal to the shield up to 60% of the initial attack. So basically, the bigger the shield Lakyus has, the more magical damage she is going to inflict on the enemies after using the ultimate and getting into the Magic Bloom state. And each time the Magic Bloom effect is activated or deactivated, she's going to remove 1 debuff from herself and gain effect resistance boost for 2 rounds. That is basically 45% resistance to negative effects. And well, the more we upgrade this passive skill, the more damage she's going to be able to convert from the value of the original shield that she got into magical damage. So if we combine what the ultimate says and the passive says, you throw the ultimate, you do big area of effect damage that can be either physical or magical depending on the state of the character at the moment. And when she does that, she gains another turn and she gains a shield that scales directly from her attack. And when she gains that shield, part of the shield gets absorbed into damage for Lakyus to do extra magical damage to the enemies when she's on the Magic Bloom effect. When she's not in the Magic Bloom effect, she's only gonna have the shield and that's it. And now the Floating Swords. The original, when you are not on the Magic Bloom attack or the Magic Bloom effect, is just gonna be physical damage equal to 40% of our attack on each hit, and is gonna throw 5 hits, but they are randomly. Only the first hit is gonna go to the original target that you want to hit. All the other 4 subsequent hits are gonna be to random enemies. You can maybe hit the same one twice or even 3 times or 4, but you can never know where they're gonna go. But if you are in the Magic Bloom effect, that damage is gonna be the same, but instead of physical, it's gonna be magical damage, and it's gonna prioritize attacking the primary target. So there's more chances, not guaranteed, but more chances that the main target of your attack is gonna get hit twice or even 3 times, maybe 4 times. So basically you change from physical damage to magical damage and more chances of hitting the same enemy multiple times. And also increases the damage that Lakyus deals to the enemies with shields by 30%. So this character was originally intended to be kind of like an anti-shield characters, because there's a ton of characters in this game that are able to give shields or have shields on themselves, and very little characters that can counter shields. So Lakyus was intended to be maybe like a light counter to shield characters. And at the max level of the upgrade on this character, on the Floating Sword skill, when she is not in the state of Magic Bloom, she's gonna recover HP equal to 100% of her attack. So basically, if Lakyus is missing any HP and she is not on the Magic Bloom effect, she can throw these Floating Swords and heal herself. And, helps her be a bit more sustainable on the battlefield. Now, I'm gonna go with the upgrades, or sorry, the arc light, because the arc light is pretty useful on this character. A difference of others, like for example, uh, support Shaltiar, that is not necessary to have her arc light, or things like Momon. In the case of Lakyus, is really really necessary to have her arc light, at least in one single star. As you can see here, the exclusive effect is that if Lakyus is not in the Magic Bloom state, it's gonna reduce the damage taken by 10%. And if Lakyus is in the Magic Bloom state, after throwing the ultimate for the first time, she's gonna deal 12% more damage. And that 10 and 12% scales more and more with each star on the arc light, to a maximum of 20% less damage taken and 24% more damage increased, which is really nice. But if you're like me, for example, that for one reason or another only got the character and didn't got the arc light, what can you use for the arc light? I have just this one, the Frank speech, as a placeholder. Increases the damage the next skill deals after a basic attack by 7.5%. Is useful. I use this one because I like to use Lakyus ultimate to do area of effect on the enemies, then throw the basic attack to do another area of effect damage to all enemies, then that attack activates this general effect, and by the next round when I throw the floating swords that are gonna hit multiple enemies, each hit has this increased damage. And I do believe that is a really really nice one. And you can, if you have the Onward to Triumph, you can use that one. It's exactly the same effect, used better because it's an arc light from a higher quality and rarity. It's a legendary one, while the Frank speech is just like an epic quality one. So those are the ones I will recommend you, or this one that is called A Cemetery and Adventure. Increases the attack by 6% for every 15% HP lost and can be stacked up to 4 times. That is only recommended if you're struggling, to have Lakyus high on HP. If she's constantly being hit by the enemy or being the focus of the enemy skills, that will be nice. Otherwise, I will recommend you either Frank's Speech or Onwards to Triumph, as well as her exclusive arc light. Now, with that explained, the awakening levels. As you can see, I don't have basically any awakening level on this character, but that doesn't matter. What I will recommend you to do, for example, is to look at this one and use this example. For the square gems that is at level 5 and level 20, I will recommend you either the energy gem defense or the energy gem attack, but only the one that increases it on a percentage, because it's always better to increase, for example here, 2.5% more the attack of a character than increasing it by 12 points, that is the original value of the gem that does not go by a percentage. So if you want your Lakyus to be a little bit more tanky and not suffer so much from the 10% less defense when she throws the ultimate, you can use the defense one. But if you want to go all in with the Magic Bloom effect that increases the attack by 10% and so, go for the energy gem attack. Both are decent and valid. Now, for the round gems that are at level 10 and level 25, I will either recommend you the one that increases the critical chance by a percentage, or the one that increases the health, that is this one, the ones that are on screen right now. The one that increases the crit, so you have a chance of, doing critical damage on the area of effect skills that Lakyus is able to do, or the one on HP if you want your character to remain to be, like a pretty balanced character, like a normal warrior that is able to do and receive more or less the same amounts of damage. But if you want to go all out because of the Magic Bloom extra damage with the extra turn and so, crit is not a bad option, but it's not a priority. Now for the rare gem, the one that is on the middle, I would recommend you the one that is for attack, because there are not many good gems here. But another one that you could use is this one, the one for speed. So you try to compensate a little bit that Lakyus lacks a ton of speed. And for the last one, the class specialized one, I would recommend you either the one that increases it by, the gem that increases the attack, sorry, or the one that is specialized for the warriors, that is this one, power gem counter rate, that increases, of course, the counter rate. It's not exactly the best option because by that time you need a lot of resources and a lot of farming on the Realm of Shadows. But if you got that far, then yeah, give her the extra counter rate, so she has a chance of dealing extra damage out of turn. Now, the relics. I have multiple options to recommend you for the relic section, and as you can see here, the main one that I recommend is the Sparkle All Days set, but you can also use the Vertmare set, as well as the Termination set, and the Red Dragon set. As you can see here, the Termination set gives you extra critical chance and the capacity of nullifying 20% of the target defense, or 30% if the relics are max quality. The Vertmare set also gives you a critical chance, as you can see here, but instead of giving you capabilities of nullifying enemy defense, instead of that gives you the chance from 20 to 40% of reducing the skill cooldown by 1 round of one random skill after the character's turn. So you can have a chance to, recuperate the ultimate skill 1 round quicker than usual and get the extra turn from the ultimate and so. So Vertmare will be for the utility and spamming the ultimate. Termination will be my recommended option if you're going, like all out full damage for the Magic Bloom effect. And if you want to have this character to be a bit more like a warrior or more balanced, either the Red Dragon set or the All Day set. The Red Dragon set increases your health by 10% and gives you the chance of reducing one skill, 1 round of one random skill each time, or well, not each time, but when the character gets hit. Here it is. This Red Dragon set gains from 10 to 20% chance to reduce the cooldown of a random skill by 1 round when taking damage. Can be triggered just once per round. So very similar to Vertmare, but instead of activating when the character gets or uses his turn, his ability, this is instead gets activated when the character takes damage. And just, like the tankier version of Vertmare. And the All Day set is kind of like the weirdest set in the game, and it's because of the exclusive effect. The relic gives you 15% HP, which is a pretty high amount, because I think sets like Champion or something like that gives you like 10%. Let me see. Yeah, Champion gives you 10% HP, Sparkle will give you 15. And the All Day set gives you the exclusive effect that it records the highest shield gain within 2 rounds and can be up to 150% max health and deal additional damage to the primary target equal to 50% of the higher shield when using attacking skills. Well, this basically means that the game keeps track of the value of the shields that your character has gained in the last 2 rounds, and based on the value of the highest shield that you got, you're gonna be able to do extra damage to the enemy. So let's say you gain a shield that it is, that has 2,000 points of value, and then you got another shield that is 100 points. The game will take in consideration both, but at the end of the day, when your character attacks, your character will do extra damage based on the highest shield, that is the shield of 2000 points. And it's gonna do 50% of the highest shield. So if I set 2000 shield, when my character attacks the enemy, it's gonna do its normal amount of damage, maybe even a critical hit, and then an extra 1000 damage because my shield was 2000. So the reason why I do recommend this set with this character is because this character gains a shield every time it throws the ultimate, and because it throws the ultimate and at the same time gains a shield and does damage, this gets activated immediately. So as soon as your character deals damage to the enemy, it's dealing extra damage because of the shield that already gained. And not only that, but if you combine that character with others, like for example Tank Cocytus or Tank Albedo that give shields to their allies, and Lakyus gets attacked before she even gets a turn, because she already has a shield either because of Cocytus or because of Albedo, she's already dealing extra damage from the shield that they gave to Lakyus. And then when her turn comes in and you throw the ultimate, you do it all over again. But only taking in consideration the highest shield value. So this is basically the set made for Lakyus, because very few characters can make good use of this set. Of course, all the counter team members could use this set, but not all get uh, the same value as if, for example, they had the star sets or the termination set, or maybe even the red dragon set in the case of the tanks. So this is why I recommend the all day set as the best set for Lakyus. Now, for the sub attributes, I merely have here some placeholders, and I'm gonna show you quickly those before I go to another character and show you a better relic set. Here you can see I gave her a little bit of effect resistance, speed, defense, and more importantly health, because this character scales some things with health and attack. Here on the chest plate you can see more health, more speed, a little bit of effect precision, so she's able to dispel the enemy buffs with the ultimate, and an S on crit, because I tried to give her the chance of doing critical damage on the enemy. Here you can see more critical chance, more health, attack, and magical defense to compensate her weakness there. And here you can see more magical defense, more attack, more effect precision, and more speed. As you can see here, basically I tried to do two things at the same time. One, compensate the lack of speed and magical defense that the character has, and two, increase the potential damage of this character by giving her, attack and critical chance. But I will use this other character here to give you a better idea of what will be the ideal sub attributes on the character. Here you have a better example. Double S, double A. The double A is for critical chance and critical damage, while the double S is for health and attack. That is incredibly good. You have both defense and offense on this relic, and the chance of doing a ton of damage on the enemy at the same time. Here on the armor you can see a little bit of physical defense, attack, effect resistance, and damage boost. If you put at least one S of effect resistance on this character, is gonna be really nice, because Lakyus gains effect resistance every time she uses the ultimate, or every time she deactivates the magic bloom. So it will be 45% every time you throw the ultimate, plus whatever you have on the relics. You're gonna be able to have your Lakyus to be able to withstand enemy stuns or damage over time effects pretty easily. Here on the weapon you can see that I again give more critical chance, critical damage, some effect precision, and again more attack, because everything of Lakyus scales with attack and then with a little bit of HP and physical defense. And now on the base you can see once again more critical damage, more attack, more physical defense, and critical damage resistance, but that is just an extra. So that will be for a full, like late game Lakyus if I were to use her. That I'm not gonna do, but either way you could. And that is in a termination set. So you can have a termination set just like I told you, and go all in for the magic bloom and use that crit that termination gives you. Now, here I have another example on a Vertmare set. I said Vertmare was to spam the ultimate and the utility, and here you're gonna see why. The Vertmare set here, for example, I have critical damage, critical chance, effect precision, magical defense, not bad. Here I have a really good relic, reduction to damage over time, physical defense, a ton of attack, and a good amount of critical chance. Then the weapon, you see more attack, more effect precision, a good amount of damage boost, and a really high amount of critical chance. And on the base, you can see more critical chance, more health, damage boost, and speed. This will be really good because you're gonna be able to throw the ultimate of Lakyus, do a lot of area of effect damage, and have a really good chance of not only doing critical damage, but also reducing the skill of the ultimate so you can spam it again. And after the ultimate, you could throw the basic attack that is gonna be converted into magical damage, that is gonna do area of effect damage into everyone. And if Vertmare didn't get activated during the ultimate, it's gonna be activated during the basic attack. Or if you get lucky, you can get double activation of Vertmare in the two moves from Lakyus, and you can already basically have the ultimate by the next time Lakyus moves. So you do a lot of spam with the area of effect damage and critical chance. And here I have another example, but it's gonna be only on the sub attributes because Momo has a star set, and I do not recommend star set on Lakyus. You could put it, yes, but it's not gonna be as good as the other sets. Here you can see again magical defense, health, and a good amount of attack and critical chance. The chest plate has more health, attack, speed, and critical chance. That is really good. Here on the blade, you have more speed, attack, effect precision, a really good amount of effect resistance. And the base, you see critical damage, critical chance, and physical defense. So, if I were to say what is your priority on this character, your number one priority is the attack, because everything on this character scales with attack. After attack, I will probably recommend you either you go with damage boost or critical chance with critical damage, whatever you prefer. If you don't like the RNG of having to go with critical chance, then go for damage boost. Or if you just want to do a ton of damage, you go damage boost instead of critical damage, because maybe nowadays everyone has their tanks with critical damage resistance, so that might be counter or whatever. And it's up to you, but I would recommend you number one your attack, number two either critical chance or damage boost, and your number three and four sub attributes, you can either go and compensate the weaknesses of the character, that is basically the lack of speed and magical defense, or you could go and increase the health and the speed. If you go for speed and magical defense, your character is going to be pretty much balanced and is going to behave pretty much like a Momon or Rasariusu on the gameplay. But if you go for the health and the speed, then your character is going to be able to withstand all kinds of damage more often, but you're going to lose a little bit against magical damage teams or mage teams. Now, for the you can see here the relic enhancements. My number one priority will be the Blade Drown. Blade Drown because basically increases your attack from level 1 to 5, but from 6 to 10. Also increases your attack on a flat amount, and a percentage. So you have double benefits in there. And the number two priority that I will say is one that my tanks have. Usually all my tanks have it. And is the Iron Wall Protection enhancement. You can see here, Iron Wall Protection increases the shield amount by certain percentage when gaining a shield. Can go from 7 to 14 to 22 to 32 all the way to 42%. And this basically has synergy with Lakyus because she gains a shield with the ultimate, and not only that, but with the old days set, that means that Lakyus is going to be able to do more damage because that enhancement is going to increase the value of the shield that is going to give her an extra damage because of the relic set. So you see the synergy, right? I would recommend, number one, the attack, the Blade Drown, number two, the Iron Wall Protection, and then I would recommend you as your number three on the priority list, the one hit kill. One hit kill increases the area of effect skill damage by 5%, or 10, or 16, or 23, or 30% if the HP is full, depending on the level. This is incredibly good because not only the ultimate is an area of effect skill, but also the floating swords that she throws is also another area of effect skill, regardless of if Lakyus is in the magic bloom state or not. And the basic attack is another area of effect skill when she is on the magic bloom effect. So you throw the ultimate, and then whatever you throw is still an area of effect damage skill that gets, benefited or upgraded from the one hit kill relic enhancement. And then I would recommend use the number 4, the endless cycle, for more HP from level 1 to 5, and from 6 to 10 you not only get HP in flat amounts but also in percentage. Those will be my recommendations. Pure attack, then the Idle 1 protection for more defense, then you go for the one hit kill for more area of effect damage, and then you go back to endless cycle for more health. So you basically have a pretty balanced character between offense and defense. And at the end of the day, that is what most warriors are on the game. So those will be my recommendations for the relic enhancements. Now for the last part, the themes and compositions to play with this character. This is not any kind of a special character or really good at what it does, and because of that, it doesn't have many characters to play with. But the first team that you could think of is another Warriors team. So you put things like Lakyus with, for example, Gasef that is able to counter the enemies and constantly harass one of the enemies. Or you can put Brain for the early game, so everyone has more counter rate and more counter damage, and everyone is constantly harassing all the enemies. And then you can put any tank or healer. But more for the late game, you could pair Lakyus with, for example, warriors like the normal Momon or the Sariusu, the ones that are on the screen right now. Or you can go and put it with this Nave right here, because this Nave is also warrior and does a ton of damage and reduces the enemy defense by a ton. The other team you could use is the Buffers team. Buffers team includes basically this Hamuske, the robot version, as well as Big Team, and you could either choose from there either Anniversary Albedo, or you can go for Pandora's Actor or Pestonia. Pestonia will be to give turn meter boost, Pandora's Actor to give multiple buffs, and Albedo will be for the invulnerability and effect resistance. Those characters, Big Team, Hamuske, and whatever of those priests or healers with Lakyus are gonna maximize her damage, and she's gonna be the carry. Then you can go for a counter team. Counter team will have characters like this Coquetos right here, the tank version, and can have like this Albedo, the tank version. And you can also add characters like Momon that also has counter rate, normal shot there, or other characters like, for example, Peshurian, Gasef, or Brain. You don't have much things to choose there, but you can go either a buffers team, a warriors team, or a counter team. And the next part of the guide, I'm going to be showing all of them. The teams are pretty simple, so you're going to be able to see them by the next video in multiple parts, probably like 2 parts. And with that, I will have, to conclude this character's guide. I hope I explained this right, or decently enough, because I haven't done one of this in a long time, so I forgot how to explain many things. But yeah, that will be everything, and thanks for being here, and until the next time. The next guide should be out in like 2 days, the theoretical one. The practical guide, where I go and fight on the arena with this character and the teams and compositions that I said, is gonna be out the same day, the exact same date that this guide. So it should be pretty easy to find. So until the next time.